Hey everybody, Steve Joy here. This video is just going to be a quick one. It's something that I found a way to reinvigorate a old campaign world. I've been running the same campaign world for years now, and what I do is I'll take a new region of the world in the map, and I'll use a new rule set for it. It's one of the reasons, if you watched my previous video about why the rules matter, it's one of the reasons that I know that. A commenter used a great term, implied setting. And I agree 100% with him. The implied setting in a rule set can really dramatically change the way a campaign world feels. So, if you're playing 5e, you might want to switch over to old school, essentials for one part of the world. Or if you've got a dark and grim kind of area, you might want to switch over to Morkborg for that area. Maybe it's some kind of cave world or something like that. If you want something more story-driven, free-form, Dungeon World might be a good choice. There's you could switch over to Savage Worlds. These are all going to change your campaign world in dramatic ways. So I've run my campaign world now in Basic D&D, Advanced D&D, First Edition, Second Edition, Third Edition. I've run it in Warhammer, Rollmaster, all kinds of different rule sets. And that's the thing, like even you'd say, well, how can you go from D&D to Warhammer Fantasy? Well, it's pretty easy. I just set Warhammer Fantasy in a giant city, and it was hugely successful, because these rules are just great for a city setting. And so that's what I did. I just changed out some of the terms and stuff, and I just made it for my world. So I know Ruin Quest is a good one. There's a cipher system you could try out. This would allow you to do whatever system you want. I'm not a big fan of these rules, but they would work great for changing up the feel. The way they work and stuff is totally different. And if you want to go science fiction, that's the other thing. Maybe you're playing a fantasy game, and you could suddenly just advance it way in the future. And maybe it's big mechs and stuff, and you could use rules like Mechaton. Or maybe you want to use something like Starfinder for your campaign world, and you take it from the medieval into the reaches of space, or way into the future for a change. And it really changes things up. So, whatever rule set you want to use, it's going to change the way your game feels, and it's going to breathe new life into your campaign world. It's going to add more to the lore. It's going to make your campaign world more complex, especially if you're a writer or something and you want to have more depth in your campaign world. This is a great way of doing it, because you've got different magic systems, you've got different combat systems, and so depending on what part of the world the players go to. Now, I'm not suggesting that you change the rule set if the players, if your players go from one part of the world to the other, then you change the rule sets. That's not what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting starting a whole new campaign in the same world, same setting, same lore there and everything, but in a part of the world they haven't explored yet, and just keeping the campaign to that area is a way of doing it. Or maybe putting it way in the future, putting it way in the past. I mean, maybe in the past it was a science fiction world, and then it goes to a fantasy world, or vice versa. You could do that kind of thing. Or you could do, like what I did was I used Warhammer for inside this great big corrupted city, millions of inhabitants, and the whole city was sort of falling in on itself because it had become so corrupt and so foul. And so I used fantasy roleplay for that, and it worked just great. And but outside of the world, I'd been running a great big campaign with Rollmaster and D&D and various different rule sets at different times. Yeah, so anyway, that's just a suggestion I found really worked. That's if your campaign world seems to be getting kind of stale or kind of feeling old, or you want to, wake your players up a bit, just say, hey, I've got an idea. Let's play in this part of the world. And they're okay, and they all expect you're going to pull out, the rules you've been using for all these years, and then you pull out something different and say, yeah, no, this part of the world, these rules suit it more. There you go. And suddenly your world will feel a lot different, and it'll be really awesome. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. All right, talk to you next time.